Hi, Alex, and welcome to Get With The Program, Silverbean Affiliate Podcast. So today we're going to talk about recruitment. Is it worthwhile just doing two intros quickly, just in regards to who we both are?
I think so. Let's do it.
Cool. So I'm Nick, head of affiliate partnerships at Silverbean. Basically support to bring new clients onto Silverbean, and also to make sure that they set the right strategy to start off with.
Awesome. I'm Alex. I am the CEO, the founder of a company called Breezy. What we're trying to do is make partnerships simple for everyone, everywhere with technology.
Cool. So today's about recruitment, which obviously you guys are a recruitment tool, so it's nice to have you here. So first of all, should we start with what is recruitment and what do you think the current pains are for an account manager when it comes down to recruitment?
The pains are many. So what is recruitment? Whether you are a brand, an agency like Silverbean, or a network, the idea is to identify potential partners who are suited to the ecosystem that you're building. So assuming we're talking about partner recruitment, we've got to identify whether we're talking affiliate or whether we're talking more broadly partnerships of other sorts, like digital partnerships. But it's really that process of identifying and then onboarding that partner, getting to the point where the deal is signed. I think everything beyond that point is really the execution and the relationship management. Yeah.
I like that. I think my thoughts are the same. It's all about kind of looking to identify to begin with, and then that process to onboard. How do you do the outreach and things like that as well? What do you think the pains are then currently in regards to recruitment that an account manager might have?
I think the pains in recruitment do tie in quite heavily with the pains that cover the entire universal journey, right? So you have this universal journey, which begins with, even before recruitment, the decision to be like, should I set up an affiliate program? Should I set up a partner program? Should I even be hiring a partner manager? Do I need to hire an agency to outsource this? All of that piece is the exploratory piece. Once you've made the decision, okay, partnerships is a thing we want to explore, it's a channel that we want to execute on and grow, then that first piece becomes discovery. You shift to onboarding, to negotiation, to optimizing the relationship, and the reality here that McKinsey says that 70% of all partnerships fail to meet their aligned goals. And that's consistent whether you're talking about strategic partnerships or affiliate specifically. So when you're doing recruitment, the idea is to actually solve at that early stage the problem, that statistic of 70% failure at the end stage. So there's a lot of these things that you can be thinking about when you're recruiting, that if you get it right towards the end of that journey, you're also going to be getting it right. So there's problems all the way down the funnel, but focusing on answering the question, which is what are the problems with recruitment today? The first problem is data. Data is scattered all over the place. And the type of data I'm talking about is data on who an entity is that might be a potential partner. What is their reach? If they're a creator, what is their audience's reach? What is their audience's geography? What is their audience's demographic? If they're a B2B partner, what is the customer that they're selling to? And that data on things like reach and focus is really distributed across multiple third-party platforms. For example, if you're looking at the affiliate networks, most of that useful data to determine relevancy just doesn't sit on those networks. And on top of that, if you're looking at the affiliate networks, they only capture a fraction of the partnerships within the global ecosystem. So you've got a limit in terms of the depth of data as well as the breadth of data. And then that limitation on data, it kind of then connects to the problem that it's not aggregated. So let's say you are smart enough as a partner manager to get the data, right? And you figure out you've either got the budget to source the data, whether you're using third-party tools like Ahrefs, Moz, SEMrush to get data around the search side of things, around backlinks and keywords, or whether you're using a tool like SimilarWeb to get traffic data and geography data, or you're using your own technology to potentially find data on how a creator or a brand is categorized. You've got all that data, then how do you make sense of it? So putting that data together to be able to rank and sort through massive amounts of it, that's also a really, really challenging piece. So from my perspective, the problem sits with the data being spread all over the place, being unstructured, and there being a lack of frameworks in place to actually make sense of it.
Yeah. I think if you look at it from like an account manager's perspective, just listen to what you just said there. It's kind of like there's 3 different ways that an account manager, in my eyes, does recruitment as well. The first one is, let's log into the network or the SaaS platform and try and discover partners within that platform. So you're searching for partners that are maybe working with your competitors, or you might just do keyword search within the marketplace on the platform itself. That's what quite a lot of affiliate managers probably do. The next step that an affiliate manager might do then is look at the likes of SimilarWeb or Moz to try and get an understanding of how they get their traffic to the site as well. And they'll reach out to loads of different third parties in order to try and validify why this partner is maybe a good fit for me. And then the third side of it is a more advanced approach in regards to, well, how can you use these tools to identify which partners are right for me, rather than validify why it's right. Maybe it's a case of discovering those partners using those third-party tools as well. And I think at the moment, there's a lot of recruitment that maybe happens where it's maybe a gap analysis provided by a network. And
here's a PDF, here's a CSV with...
Yeah, just invite them onto the program and hope that they come onto the program.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it works to a certain scale, but then at the point of maturity within the program, it probably needs at that point more support, more advancement in technology to get the partners onto the program themselves, and to identify. Yeah, so it's identifying them, then getting the right information to actually work with them and to do the outreach, and then to optimize and work with them on the other side maybe.
And I think when you get given that gap analysis, you're often given the low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And the low-hanging fruit, like if you're a big brand, if you're one of the top, the top kind of several hundred brands in any given network, the likelihood of being able to build a relationship with a top affiliate is much higher,
mm-hmm.
But there's 27 million SMEs that are digital businesses globally. Only 1.5 million of them are doing affiliate right now. And those guys often struggle to get in with the big low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got your gap analysis. Okay, these are the obvious low-hanging fruit to target. Then what? What's the mid-tail? What's the long tail?
Yeah.
What if these guys are already saturated with existing partnerships with the larger players in my space, mm-hmm. that I'm a startup or a scale-up entering into that space? So that piece itself is often missing. And when you mention using competitor analysis, who do these partners work with? Almost all the networks don't provide that data. It's actually challenging for a network to do that because, yes, they'll give you a gap analysis, but in the platform, there's always this line of, if we have a client in the network, what's the line between giving away who they're working with to their competitor? Not to mention that 90% of the competitors probably aren't also on this network. You might have 10 brands in the sports space, but Puma, Adidas, Nike, Asics, New Balance are all spread across 5 totally different networks.
Yeah.
So you're not going to know.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be those gaps, and that's why again it comes back to this data. I'm not sure whether your last question was leading me more specifically to something that I haven't answered. So
no, I think the other side of it as well. There's that 100%. The other side of it is the data to actually outreach as well. So for me, if I log into a network, then sometimes the point of contact from an affiliate point of contact isn't the right email address. The same as what affiliates probably say about brands and merchants trying to get in touch with as well. But the point of contacts within the record on a network, for example, sometimes is out of date. So then by the time that you go and do that outreach and try and get in touch with someone, it's not always the case that it's easy to do the initial outreach and to speak to the right person about that partnership.
Well, if it's an out-of-date email or it's the wrong person, then A, your outreach is not going to get through at all.
Yeah.
And B, if it does get through, you're speaking to the wrong person. So there's this kind of inefficiency of please get me in front of the right person. So most agencies historically that are really at the pinnacle, or the brands are at the pinnacle of executing partnership programs, seem to be doing the contact discovery piece themselves. So yeah, there a certain portion of the network data will be correct, but from my understanding, a lot of that manual piece is done just like all the other steps in identifying a relevant partner is done by going to the site and looking at the about section, looking at the contact us page, by using tools like Hunter, Snov, Get Prospect. And of course, you've got your two parallel strategies. You've got your LinkedIn. Let me see if I can reach out to them LinkedIn. And then your email, which is primarily the two routes that you normally would use for discovery. So a lot of work, a lot of tools, right? If you find the email, you might, and then you obviously nowadays in Europe, you've also got to ensure that you're getting it in a GDPR compliant way, which itself adds this whole additional nightmare. When it comes to, I guess, identifying those people, then you've got to figure out, how do I get their attention above all the other brands that are pushing to get their attention?
Yeah.
So
do you think that? So for me, an affiliate marketing manager is often someone who nurtures relationships and drives performance for a client. But is there an arm of salesmanship in there as well in regards to recruitment? Because if you look at the job of recruiting an affiliate partner and a job of a traditional BDM, for example, they're both doing outreach to a partner in order to open a door to build a relationship. So is there a correlation there, do you think, in regards to the skills that someone might have in regards to working within a sales role, and then the skills in regards to the ability to recruit a new partner and start working with them as well?
I think you're bang on. I think being a good affiliate manager is quintessentially a sales role. What are you selling? You're selling the brand's product. If it's a trusted relationship, not just a kind of a grey hat affiliate, that content creator, that blogger, that YouTuber, that publisher has built an audience ideally that trusts them. They have to believe in what they're selling in order to maintain that trust. So they have to believe in the brand's product. Then there's the next piece, right? It needs to be a monetary incentive, right? Is the offer, is the reward structure incentivizing to that brand? How do I convince them? Now, like back in the day, I used to work with Wise when it was TransferWise.
Yeah.
What we were selling when we were trying to onboard an affiliate was really interesting, right? Their proposition was, don't use the banks, because the banks will take 3 to 5% of whatever money you send abroad versus our 0.3 to 0.5%. That's a great proposition. It's one that's really attractive to sell. It's 10 times cheaper. What happens when your product's 10 times cheaper? Your rewards also much smaller.
Yeah.
So imagine going out to affiliates and trying to convince them that their reward is going to be half what their current promotion is.
But the
existing. But the scale is key. Basically convincing them that if you don't promote us, you're dead, because we are going to own the market. And that piece there, it sells 100%. And then you've got to sell them on giving their time, right? Just like onboarding a customer, you're selling them on giving their time, especially, when it comes to onboarding an affiliate, they've got to take that time to build the campaign. They've got to take that time to create that content. And as you're nurturing down that journey, you're selling the fact that the ROI will keep coming if they keep nurturing the relationship. Sales from the beginning to the end of the journey. But what makes great sales, in my opinion, is really focusing on building quality relationships where mutual benefit is clear.
I think that goes back to your first point as well, which was around 70% of partnerships fail. And it's all about, well, if you start off and you sell the right thing, you're both on the same page and it's a win-win, it'll be long-lasting relationship.
And that framework is missing as well. I mean, the framework of a good partnership. I think this is consistent with any type of partnership, whether you're talking strategic or a joint venture or a technical integration, or you're talking about content partnership, sponsorship, back to affiliate. The framework is the benefits that we are selling to you and the benefits that we expect to get both need to be understood up front.
Yeah.
Right? I need you to know what I'm getting out of it, but I also need to know you to know that I care what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
And then when we take so the benefits actually follow. When
I was at PI Live, we did a roundtable with affiliates and brands to understand what are the pain points right now and how can we work better together. And one of the things that came out with one of the publishers was, we don't know what your objectives are clearly, and you don't know what our objectives are clearly. Like on brand overview pages and on publisher pages, why aren't we just being transparent and saying, this is the brand objective that we want to achieve, so publishers can read it and say, well, this is how I can work with you. And likewise, the publisher to explain what they want to be achieving in that year as well.
And how that publisher typically, a really good example of this kind of negotiation is a publisher that's never done affiliate before, that is a clear content creator that typically says, we want to be paid £1,000 for a blog. Mm-hmm. And then an affiliate manager coming along and saying, okay, I hear you, right? I run a strategy where we pay on performance. I know that risk is one that you might feel is too much. So how about this? How about we'll pay you that £500, 50% discount on what you would normally expect up front, but we'll give you a long-term opportunity to make more than that original 1,000 on performance. And so working to say, okay, I understand what you expect, and this is what we normally expect. Let's try and meet there in the middle. And that's a standard negotiation. Mm-hmm. So when you're negotiating a partnership, you have your benefits, and the benefits can be anything from, I like to think of the pirate funnel, right? You've got your awareness, you've got your activation and acquisition. I always forget which order they are. I should probably not admit to that. Then you've got your revenue and your retention. And all of those benefits can be clearly stated. If you're talking about cost per click deal, typically it's a little earlier in that funnel. If you're talking about paying on sale, you're really talking about acquisition with affiliate. And on the other side, okay, if those are my goals defined as the pirate funnel, and in other partnerships, you could have, we want new IP. We want to be able to license a new product. We want to diversify our revenue. We want to have new expertise enter into our ecosystem. We want to expand our product. We want to improve our supply chain distribution infrastructure. When it comes to the other side of that equation, I need to know what measurables are tied to those benefits. If I'm an affiliate, the measurable for me is really clear. It's normally it's revenue that ties to that CPA or that rev share, right? But I need to understand what, on your side, those measurables are. So that awareness piece, is that clicks, is that views, or the activation piece, is that a sign up and that sell? And the affiliate industry has that down better than anyone else. But when you take those pieces and you don't match them to what's our timeline for the execution of this partnership, how many of your team are involved? Like, who are the stakeholders that own these pieces? If in 3 months' time we're not at our goal, are we going to have regular conversations to be like, well, we didn't hit that why? And most partnerships don't have any of this stuff.
No.
It's just the big boys, the top 1% of partnerships you're really negotiating and ongoing and working with. But the small guys, the long tail and the mid tail, they need a bit of that too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really missing from the current ecosystem.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think just to go back a little bit on all of this, from there's a lot of conversation right now around diversification within an affiliate and partner marketing program. So an over-reliance on a certain type of partners and the ability to look to recruit new partners onto the program to offset your risk and obviously diversify the revenue there. What do you think the process is in regards to identifying new affiliate partners?
The process in terms of the step. So if you're an affiliate manager setting up your channel from scratch, what is that process you're going to be following?
Or even say not from scratch, but when you've got a mature affiliate program, but you want to diversify the types of partners that you're working with.
Well, the normal dilemma is that because affiliates as a kind of an industry was built on incentive sites as the driver, your cashback, voucher, promo, and discount. Often the large missing piece has been that quality content piece.
Yeah, big interest at the moment around that as well.
So that's the typical, we need to diversify to that.
Yeah.
And the first thing there is to understand what that means. That means that your revenue will take longer to show. Your ROI will, if you're building fresh content, your revenue will take longer to show. But what is the process there? So the first piece that you typically would want to look at is who is out there already ranking for those keywords that my brand is either ranking for themselves or really are very close to the kinds of things that brand's customer is searching for. And those keywords are either going to be ranked for by the brand, their competitors, or potential partners.
Yeah.
So everyone who's not the brand, the competitors, is kind of falling into the bucket of potential partner. The next thing you want to look at is who is linking to my competitors and similar brands on the assumption that if I am, if they are, doing that, then they are probably already in a relationship of some sort. Therefore, I might be able to be in a relationship, or it's clear that they're talking about the kind of thing that I want to get in front of my customers. So you've got who's linking for competitors, you've got who is ranking for keywords, and ideally, if you can take that a step further and say who's got an affiliate relationship with my competitors, which is something that historically hasn't really been particularly offered in the industry. I mean, until Breezy, of course, but these things are really good indicators of potential value. Then you have additional things that you want to be looking at. What is the traffic in the geography?
Relevancy.
So when you combine these things of the relevancy, which is the keywords, the backlinks, and existing partnerships, with the traffic and the reach, you have this sense of potential.
Yeah.
And from there, it's about just going into more detail. So I think the first thing is you've got to follow this flow of saying, let's cut down and get a really clear prospect list of who the relevant partners could be. And then let's figure out our strategy to engage them.
To actually, So what to go with.
And it's going to be different. That diversification piece is going to really impact the campaign strategy differently. So if you're talking to a traditional affiliate, you don't have to explain affiliate to them. But if you're talking to a YouTuber or a content creator that's never done affiliate, you're going to have to explain that piece to them. And that means probably your campaign strategies are going to be separate. If you're going to go to a business and try and make them into a co-seller, a B2B co-seller or referrer, it's a whole different challenge. The challenge there is really,
and that's how we approach it as well. It's all about, are they an affiliate? If they are, there's a certain material for this. Are they not an affiliate? Let's educate them around affiliate and how it works. If they're a brand-to-brand partnership, this is the route that we have to take and the approach for that. But it's more about, the process, I guess, of kind of, you want this relationship, you've identified the partners now, and then it's about the process to go out to market.
And that piece
to
that you
support
mentioned,
that partnership as well.
So when you say go out to market, do you mean to go out to market to the partners?
Yeah.
So that piece you asked earlier about, is it a sales piece? Apparently an average salesperson sends 2 emails to a lead. But over 50% of sales responses come after the 5th and 6th email. Do affiliate managers think that way? They should be. So if you're going to build that outreach list, you better be expecting to get no responses from the majority of your recipients for the first 3 or 4 emails. And you better be really thinking about that piece. So, like, the networks tried to solve it by having a join, but what does join mean if you don't have the relationship management piece built around it? If you're getting bombarded as a brand with requests from incentive sites, how are you going to spot the one that's more relevant to you, that actually does rank for those keywords? Because the networks definitely don't know it, right? So when you've got when you've got that kind of insight there, and you can't just join, you need to go out and use the insight to hook them, and you need to build a sales strategy to your affiliates that's similar to a sales strategy to brands. And that is a key process piece that often, certainly we find, because our main solution at the moment is that discovery piece, is are our clients remembering how much effort it can take to get from you found this relevant partner to this relevant partner's in a negotiation with us. And that piece is something that I think often brands can fall down on.
Underrated in regards to the amount of effort that it might take to recruit as well. That's good. The next bit that we wanted to chat about then was, once you do the outreach, how do you think a brand should look to differentiate themselves when it comes to outreach and getting in front of an affiliate?
It's a great question. Well, I think it comes back to that framework we talked about, right? So if you do that, it's like a consultative framework almost. Like, what are the benefits? What are the measurables? What is the culture and what is the time frame from both sides? So I've got to put my affiliate hat on, and I've got to say, I'm them. As the brand, I'm them. If I'm going B2B, I'm the other brand. So if I was then,
this is what a publisher wants from the partnership. This is what the brand wants from the partnership.
And naturally, it all does come down to explaining that journey to ROI, right? So if you can paint that journey to ROI, this is what we expect. So you really have, it's a challenging piece. This is what my brand sells. If you haven't heard of us, right, as an agency, this is what our brand sells, right? This is what our client sells. And if you haven't heard of us, this is what we do. And this is why we're great. So you're having to start off not by selling the actual relationship, you're having to sell that product piece. And then you've got to somehow connect that down to, and in 3 months' time, you're going to be making, right, 10% rev share, which means this. So framing these pieces is a really, really challenging part of it.
I've seen a brand do that, So I've seen it on a brand side where they literally have a widget on the site, and it says, how much traffic can you drive to me? And then it'll work out the average conversion rate on the program, the average commission rate, and it says you've got the potential of earning X amount. And it's a quick and easy way to have that conversation with a publisher to say, well, you might be working on a CPM, you might be working on CPCs, but if you work on a CPA, this is the potential of this partnership. And I think it's a really clever idea that the brand had.
We didn't have a conversation on this subject because we've been building this calculator as part of our goal to essentially help that later stage in the relationship management journey, right? So the idea of that calculator being a combination of several things, like on one hand, it's the qualitative piece, which is what are our values? What are your values? Who are your audiences and demographics? And on the other side, it's the really quantitative piece. What is the size of that reach? What is the monetization route? And on the B2B side, this becomes really fascinating. So I'll give you an example. When under my agency that I used to run before I set up Breezy, it was AFIL. We used to manage the growth of the partner channel for a company called Yopa, which we would focus primarily on affiliates. But there was an angle of B2B that we looked into. And we had 2 conversations with the view that potentially Yopa would become an affiliate. So Yopa would become a co-seller to other businesses.
Yeah.
And one of those conversations was with a brand that sold beds. And the other was with a brand that sold mortgages. And the first question is like relevancy. So the idea was, would Yopa sell a mortgage? Well, it makes sense because when a customer comes through looking to buy a home, there's a high probability they're looking to sort of also get a mortgage. And it doesn't work as well the other way around. Like if you're looking at a mortgage, the likelihood is you've actually probably already got to the point where you've put your home on the market. So you've got this one-way directionality, which is stronger than the other way.
Yeah.
Yes. If you want to sell your home, you may want to buy a new bed. So you might say that on a scale of 1 to 5, that relevance there is 5 between the estate agency and the mortgage, and maybe 3.5 between the estate agency and bed buying.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look into the reward structure. The average cost per acquisition for a mortgage paid out to Yopa, £300, which is a 30% uplift on the value that customer normally generates. So Yopa makes £1,000, they upsell, they make a 30% revenue uplift. The average CPA on the bed, £40, right? It's a 4% uplift. So when you're calculating the value, you've got the relevancy piece, but at the end of that funnel, it really matters. Is it worth me as a brand selling another brand if I'm only going to get a 4% uplift, right, on a per customer basis, not to mention the overlap there? So one of the problems, I guess, comes back to data is that this is not something that is given to both sides of the equation. It doesn't happen in the affiliate world, but it's easy to make that calculation to really get to that decision. So I think often those calculations are quite challenging for the affiliate manager and the creator to do together unless they have those systems in place, those calculators in place to automate them really quickly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Recruitment is overrated or underrated, because there's 2 sides to it. The first side is, from a recruitment perspective, affiliate managers always want to bring more and more and more onto the affiliate program. And the way that they look to achieve revenue success and growth is to simply recruit partners. The opposite side of it, though, is that if you're looking to increase revenue and you're a mature program already, is it easier to then optimize the relationships? Typically, I think account managers will go into either recruitment mode or optimization mode and not a hybrid mode, which I think is probably the better option. But what are your thoughts on that?
So when it comes to overrated, underrated question, I think recruitment is definitely underrated, broadly speaking, in the industry, in the sense that a lot of people put verbal focus on it. Yeah, we really do a lot of recruitment, but they get wrapped up in the management of existing partners, the optimization, the payment.
Yeah.
And often recruitment, because it is hard, because it requires so much effort on the outreach side and the identification side, because it is so limited by the tech, this doesn't happen. Or
it does happen, but 1 or 2 emails and then it stops.
You're right. It happens, but not to the extent that actually yields really great ROI. But your question of optimization versus recruitment, there's an interesting piece. So you absolutely need to continue optimizing a partnership in order to make it work over the years. And I think the vision for any good partnership is this is a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
This isn't a quick win for us. This is something that we're going to learn about how to improve it as we go. We're going to grow it. And a really good example of that, by the way, a blog at Wise that started generating a few referrals a month, 3 years later, generating several hundred referrals, very, very substantial income, just because the ranking and the SEO increased.
Dominating that search result.
Right. But when it comes to this question of optimization, recruitment in some ways can tie into optimization. So for larger brands that have multiple categories, often what you have is a piece where you identify the partner as only being relevant to one category or one product SKU, and therefore you're not thinking about recruiting them onto other categories.
Yeah.
So yes, that's an optimization piece, but it's also a recruitment piece, right? Why is it also a recruitment piece? First of all, the data that goes into identifying that relevancy in the first place around the partner is what's their geographies. So if you're a brand using them, to promote, working with them to promote the UK, to the UK consumer, but they've also got a big audience in Germany, then that becomes a new optimization opportunity. If they are a creator that ranks for keywords in, say, dance, but you also have a focus on yoga, that initial relationship might be built on dance, but that recruitment piece that went into identifying why that partner is relevant gives you these other potential optimization opportunities. So you go, okay, wow, we've also, by the way, we're now focusing on our yoga category, and we think you should do that.
The data there is so important as well, because an affiliate manager will traditionally probably spend about 60% of their time looking at a network or the platform that they manage that within. Whereas the good account managers and the best account managers out there are leveraging third-party data in order to look at demographics, consumer interest, and understand not only from a media pack point of view from a partner, but how they gain their traffic, what insights they can get from what search results they are ranking for within Google and things like that as well. From them.
I mean, that's exactly what they should be doing. And thinking about a potential partner as a cross-channel partner, like the idea being that your affiliate, if you're a brand, your affiliate team is not really siloed from your SEO team. There is the potential there to real together. Cross-pollination.
Yeah.
So, it's
a hot topic at the minute, that as well.
Absolutely. That partner ranks for these keywords, therefore they make a great SEO partner. But because of certain Google restrictions, you've got to commit to one or the other.
The brand will only rank for certain keywords, and affiliate can rank for an overlap of them keywords and a lot of other keywords as well. Exactly. So it's about, well, how do you bring them both together to form meaningful partnerships?
And combine all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
So that, we know that when we're talking with this partner, we've got our affiliate management hat on. We've also got our broader kind of branded content partner hat on, and we've got our kind of backlink building hat on as well. That means you need those key stakeholders in that conversation.
Yeah, that sounds good. That all makes sense. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today. I think it's been great just to understand and talk a little bit more around what recruitment actually is, the process that affiliate managers actually go through to identify the right affiliate partner, and then the correlation between the outreach. Like, is that the learnings from this conversation is outreach actually a similar sales tactic in itself? Is the things that we can learn from a typical BDM approach, for example. And then when we do the outreach, make sure that you put both hats on, both from the brand perspective, but then also from an affiliate's perspective, to get that win-win, and make sure that you're consistent. Because if you only send one or two emails, then chances are you're not going to see the great results that you can get from recruiting partners onto your affiliate program.
I think that's a great summary of much better than I could do.
Perfect.